Hey everyone, this is Prince Watercress, and welcome back to Let's Play McDonald's Treasureland Adventure. We are now on stage 3, and we're doing a little bit of platforming, and, well, it's hanging off the hooks below those red things. At least that cloud that's being blown up and down will stay there permanently, but the ones that we're lighting on now, well, those things will disappear about after a second, and I really lucked out on getting on that platform. And now we have a boat. You could get in the boat, but it's better to stand on the edge of the boat, specifically the left edge, because that lets you avoid that saw when the boat gets cut in half. There are also fish in the water, but those are pretty easy to avoid as long as you're not too far away from the top of the screen. You may get the odd hit from them every once in a while, though. And after a couple of those hooks to hang on, we get into this boat, which carries us all the way back to where we were, and also beyond. Yeah, we don't get carried back to the dock. Instead, we get carried to the ship. All we need to do is just go to the left, and there we go. Now, if you don't know what to do here, this part can be frustrating. You want to use your scarf to hang on to the hooks and then shoot yourself upwards to avoid being hit by these waves. You'll have to avoid about 4 of them. Also, there are penguins here. Do not attack them or else they will try to headbutt you. They cannot be killed off. Also, there's a continue to the left, but the penguins leap into the ship before you can get it, so you may have to use a balloon to get that one. Anyway, when the clouds start showing up, you want to take them all the way to the right, jump from one cloud to another. And the reason I'm waiting here before I go to the next section is, in case you missed the one-up, you can use the clouds that the penguins stand on to get it. Because if the penguin is standing on it, the cloud don't disappear a second after you land on it. In this section, those guys with the hats, you want to keep hitting with their magic. You'll eventually take them down when they stop guarding themselves with their umbrella. They also attack with their hat as well. You also have some enemies that carry shields with lips on them that spit fire. And you also have these coconuts. Now, if the hook underneath the coconut is yellow, it's safe. If it's like a dark gold, then if you grab onto it, the coconut's gonna fall down. Also, getting that balloon there was a pain. You'll be doing quite a bit of tree climbing and sliding off the leaves if you're not careful. And we also come into contact with another shop too. Also, I noticed that the gold bags give you 300 gold and not 100. I actually learned this game as I went, and now I'm gonna have to edit that into the first part of this Let's Play somehow. Still, it's better late than never, I suppose. Anyway, go into the store to fill up on flowers, and then continue on our way. Now, I try to fight these guys off, but I unfortunately accidentally go up the hill while trying to fight these guys off, and there's that hat attack I was talking about. Thankfully, if you have max power magic, those guys with the hats go down in just 2 hits. So anyway, I took some accidental damage, filled up on flowers again, and that's pretty much an example of what happens when you grab on one of the big hooks instead of the real ones. Believe it or not, you can actually hit these enemies while they're behind their shields, but it still helps to get rid of the shields first, because if they don't have their shields, they're practically defenseless. Also, I learned that the jewel items that increase your maximum health, they don't refill your health at all, sadly. You're better off using the flowers and the jewels, either alone or in pairs for that. Anyway, the next section has us meeting this captain of this pirate ship. He runs away, and the rest of the ship rises. Once the ship stops rising, you can head to the right and head on to this section. Well, there's plenty of hooks for you to grab onto as you make your way to the top. I found out in this section that if you hold up or down while you're holding A, you can actually extend the length of your scarf up and down in order to avoid stuff. Though you don't really start taking advantage of that until you get into the fourth and final stage of the game. Also, you can hold A and press B while holding A to shoot at enemies while holding onto the hooks. That's pretty useful too. Also, inside this door is a minigame. I'm not playing it. I'd rather use the shop for all my item needs. Thank you very much. Anyway, we got quite a few hooks to hang on to. And if the hook goes into one of those gray things with the little spinny things on it, and you're still holding onto the hook when it goes in there, you're gonna let go. Also, we're near the top. We need to reach the crow's nest in the center there, or else we're not gonna make it to the next section. Also, I thought I was gonna be able to grab onto that hook. Instead, I take quite a bit of a plunge down, but that's alright. And that's where I learned the whole up and down thing right there. I actually thought that was pretty nifty. So anyway, time to stop playing around and get to the crow's nest in the center of the ship. I should also mention the little mouth that shoot out the cannonballs. You cannot destroy those no matter what. And I had been a little bit higher, I probably would have been able to avoid it. Anyway, we're now at the crow's nest in the center. And another ship, presumably helmed by the same captain that we met in the last section, shoots way more cannonballs than necessary and sinks the ship. I guess he had another ship waiting in the wings in order to get to us in case we couldn't get to him in time, which was definitely going to be a thing. The ship sinks to the bottom of the ocean, so do we. And we're now inside the ship, which is a bit of a maze. I go through the first door here, and I use the hooks to get to where I need to go. There are all sorts of rooms with all sorts of enemies. I'm not going to mention all the enemies, like the guys who throw the barrels, or these guys with the spears that can't be killed. Instead, I'm just going to show you the quickest route through here. You want to make your way up and to the left. I considered going through that door to get some power up, then I realized, hey, you know, if I go over up and to the left, I'll be able to maybe get some other stuff and also make my way to the exit, or make my way closer to the exit, at least. Definitely want to use up and down while hanging on the scarf, while holding A, to avoid these hands. Those are hands that you do not want to catch, because they can hurt you. Now you're in here. You want to avoid these blue things because you can't destroy them and they just spin around and bounce off walls. And I wait for this enemy to go to the right before I zap him from behind and refill one of my hit points. These little sloths will jut in and out, and you can use that one right there to reach some platforms. I go through this door in the center here because it lets us get to the goal here. There's a shop above there, by the way. It isn't that hard of a maze. It's pretty easy to find your way around for the most part. And you'll definitely be out of this ship before you know it. Once you make it to the next section, you'll start out here where the water rises and falls here. At least the water doesn't push you forward, which would be a bad thing considering that we have spikes in the forms of those little grabby hands right there in the floor there. Definitely want to use these little lifeboats as platforms in order to get through the water here a little more safely. And some enemies respond. over to the left and to the right, so I take advantage of the situation to get a few more gems and a few more gold. And there's another magic power-up in case we need it. I'm going to go ahead and grab it for the gold anyway. And if you can somehow leap off the edge of that lifeboat and get that continue, more power to you. I could never figure out how to do it. But anyway, when you reach the door here, you'll meet Grimace. Grimace is so tired that he can barely move. And you'll need to give him, I believe, 3 jewels in order to help him out. He'll then tell you that the captain went through this door and then he's got a piece of map, which is fairly obvious. And there's that jewel icon, that jewel item that I can't use. There is another store past Grimace. We're going to take advantage of that, because why not? And of course these ghosts will go down in a few hits now that we have max power magic. And when we're in here, the water will push us back. Your best bet is to go through the second door, the one in the middle here, because that's your best route to the boss. The first and third ones will loop you around. Matter of fact, if you take the first door, you'll end up coming back through the third. Use your scarf here to hang on the hooks and avoid these grabby hands for spikes. And we want to grab onto this hook, destroy this ghost, and then take this door to the left, because that will take us to the captain there, kind of. Get rid of this guy. And now we have this guy in a suit of armor and a cape. Just keep walking towards him. He'll fall into the pit of grabby hands and you'll be able to continue on your way. Drop down, grab as many things as you can. There's another store here in case you need to fill up on flowers, jewels, lives, magic power, you name it. And here, you'll finally face the captain. This guy will cause enemies to come out of the room at the very start. And then he'll jump to wherever directions he's facing and try to eat one of your magic gems with that laser. You want to jump into the center of the room up there to let him eat a jewel, and then hit him while his mouth is moving. He'll jump around the room a bit, then throw his head at the upper level before throwing it to the lower level. He'll then return to the center and then pull another switch. If he pulls a switch on the left, all the little red things, all those little red doors in the floor there will shoot at enemies. If he grabs the one on the right, if he pulls that one, it'll be all the blue ones. You can kind of tell by the color coding there when you go up there. And from there, he can pretty much does his little pattern again. I cannot speak English to save my life yet again. Be sure to use the enemies to get jewels and other things if you need it, because it definitely helps. If you somehow manage to get behind him while his mouth is moving, while he's on the lower level, you can get a whole bunch of hits on him. Just be careful with it. By the way, whenever he causes those enemies to shoot out, the floor acts as a conveyor belt here. And it does move very quickly to the left, as you'll see. Or to the right, actually. You want to be very careful, and you don't want to be on the lower level after he leaps from the center once the enemies have popped up. The pattern that this boss has is a bit of a doozy at first, but after several minutes with him, you'll figure out what you need to do, and you should be able to hit him from there. And pull off stuff like this where I get a whole bunch of hits in. That really helped there. Just make sure you don't lose a lot of health while you're here. Now for this one, I'm running a little low on health. I actually stay on the lower level there because I couldn't get up there in time. And it's just as well because I'm nearly at full health again. And while he's jumping around the lower level while the conveyor belt is moving, you want to be careful if you're in the top center where the little ropes he pulls are, those little switches there, because he can hit you while he's jumping if you're up there and he's down there. Also, because he's facing right, he's going to jump to the right. If he's facing left, he's going to jump to the left after he shoots the enemies out. Pretty good stuff to know. And that is it for the captain. We've taken him down. And we get these nice little starburst explosions before the screen fades out. When you finally meet up with the captain surrenders, and he gives you the last part of the treasure map. Ronald takes the last piece of the treasure map to see if it fits, and we have the whole map. And it is here that we find out that we have a perfect fit. But where is the treasure? Turns out, the treasure is somewhere else. It's not on Earth, it's on the moon. Birdie mentions going to see the professor to see if we can find a way to fly to the moon, preferably by rocket ship, because how else are we going to do it? This is McDonald's land after all. Ronald and his friends go to the professor's house. We tell the professor what's going on, and he makes us a rocket ship to take us to the moon. We finally get to see the rocket ship. In goes Ronald, Grimace, Hamburglar, Rubble Rubble, Birdie, and the Fry Kids. And then we have the countdown. We finally make our way into space, but the rocket crashes as soon as we make it to the moon. We have no way left to go home. Ronald suggests splitting up in case we can find somebody who can help out. And that sets the scene for Stage 4, Magical Moon, which we'll cover in the next video, so join me next time for the 4th and final stage of McDonald's Treasureland Adventure. So until then, this is Prince Watercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!